Good evening. Welcome to Maysville this evening. Hope we're all able to benefit from our class time together. If you want to mark song number 29, that'll be our song of encouragement this evening, number 29. We'll have our closing prayer at the conclusion by Brother Jackson Richard. Some deadlines to not forget about. Please remember this coming Sunday, December 4th. I've seen some packages already in the foyer that are wrapped and ready to go. But if you have not yet brought your package for the Child Haven, the gifts that will be distributed this Sunday afternoon, that is due Sunday morning, December 4th, this coming Sunday. The van will leave to deliver those gifts right after morning worship, and the teen activity, that is planned for that trip for Child Haven. So that is your teen activity. You're asked to bring some money for lunch, and again, that is this coming Sunday morning. I have your gift here wrapped and the tag on it. Also, we did give you an option that if we ran out of names, which we did this past Sunday for Child Haven, another option was that you could donate $25 or however much you wanted to provide a food basket for a family in the village of Mololoa in Honduras. That also comes with a toy for a child. That money for Honduras, if you're doing the food baskets, that is due as well this coming Sunday. It has to have time to get there so they can prepare the food. And if you have any questions or if you need to get that to the right person will be Patty Weaver. And the checks for the food baskets is made out to Palmetto Church of Christ for South Carolina, who we work with. Also, the Secret Pal Christmas party is scheduled for December the 11th. This will be after our evening worship services, and that'll be that'll be at the home of Betty Hall. And you're asked to bring finger foods and a $10 to $15 gift. Did have a couple of hotline updates. First of all, if you're not receiving hotline updates and you would like to, you can see Joy Marshall. She does a good job getting us our information that we need, and she'll be more than happy to add your email to that list. This is from Jonya Hawkins, that a friend of hers, Lori Posey, that's been on our list before, has had a reoccurrence of cancer, and at this time it's on her upper lobe of her right lung. And because of the location, the tumor cannot be removed, and they will have to remove the whole upper lobe of her lung. She's 40 years old, has 2 children, one girl in the 8th grade at Central, and a boy is a freshman at Jacksonville State, and is married as well. And she's having surgery tomorrow on Thursday, December 1st, and needs our prayers at this time. Also, this is from Lon and Pam Pittman, an update on their niece, Becca Daniel. She's going to have surgery tomorrow as well, December 1st, and they'll be removing what they believe is a benign tumor, and they are asking for prayers on her behalf as well. So please keep those families and individuals in your prayers. Also, the fruit basket list will be posted across from the Secretary's office, and if you will check the names on the list, if there is someone you'd like to add, please do that. It will remain there until after next Wednesday. That's after next Wednesday night service. Please delete anything that needs to be off that list if necessary, and make sure the names are there. And please make sure that you do that by next Wednesday. Also, we mentioned that the Madison County boys basketball team is hosting a pancake breakfast. That is Saturday, December 3rd, this coming Saturday. The tickets are $6, and if you'd like to purchase that to support them, you can see Steve Webster, Will Lenore, or Jackson Richard to buy your tickets. Again, that's this Saturday, and the tickets are $6. Also, don't forget about our upcoming events here at the building. December 10th will be the ham and turkey dinner at 6 p.m., and our first annual breakfast with Santa, which will be the following Saturday at Saturday the 17th at 9 a.m. here at the building as well. There is a sign-up list posted for the breakfast with Santa. Is that correct? Okay. Outside the Secretary's office. If you would, please sign up for that event so we can get a head count. And if you would like to invite your friends or relatives and their children, please feel free to do that, but make sure you put their names there so we know how many children to allot for, and so we can prepare for that event. I believe that's all the announcements I have at this evening. Let's open up our Bibles to the book of Luke. Luke chapter 17. I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Ray. Ray is the Hollywood documentary, if you will. of the life of Ray Charles. There is a scene in the movie where I don't know what city he's about to play at or what theater he's in, but he's in a large theater with a large audience. And he's about to play, but the audience is they're loud. They're not paying attention to Ray on stage when he's at his piano. I don't remember the guy's name backstage, but he said, we need to do something. He said, on my count, I want you to take down the house lights and dim them. So he said, a few seconds later, he started counting down. He said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the house lights got dim. And all of a sudden, the crowd got quiet, and all the focus was on Ray Charles. After the show, Ray Charles is backstage. They're packing up the equipment, all the instruments and everything, and they're laughing and joking around. And Ray Charles speaks up. He said, who was that backstage with that countdown? And the guy who did it spoke up and said, well, that was me. He said, what was that all about? What was that counting? He said, well, I was counting down so they'd take down the house lights where the crowd would be quiet and have the focus on you. He said, well, who told you to do that? He said, nobody. I did it because it needed to be done. And I thought that was cool. I did it because it needed to be done. And I wonder how many times in life we have things that we know need to be done, but we sit back and say, well, that's not my job. It's not my responsibility. Maybe it's somewhat of an obligation for me, but someone else really needs to take control of that. And I don't really do it because it needs to be done because it's not my job. Luke chapter 17 and verse 10, before this, talking about a servant relationship with a master, probably one of my top 10 favorite passages in Scripture because it's just so simple and direct. So you also, when you have done everything you were told to do, should say, we are unworthy servants. We have only done our duty. And I like that we're just unworthy servants. We're just humble servants for God. We're just doing exactly what He told us to do. There comes a time that, congregations or churches, that they struggle a little bit, I guess, with numbers, with attendance. And if you'll notice just by looking around you tonight, you look to your left and look to your right, and take a second to do that. Just look around you, and you'll notice from this past Sunday, you can probably label off 5, 6, 7, 8 people that were probably here Sunday morning or Sunday night that just aren't here tonight. And not only are they not here tonight, they're not here last Wednesday night. They won't be here next Wednesday night because they don't come on Wednesdays for various reasons. Don't know why. They could have a job conflict. Who knows? But there are just some people that do not make the effort to be here with their family. But I wonder, my question is, do we make the effort to pick up the phone and call? Do we make the effort to sit down and write a card? Do we make the effort to go a few blocks where they live and knock on their door and say, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Where have you been? What can we do for you? Do we actually make that effort? Do we do it because it simply needs to be done? We have elders in our church here that do a great job. And ultimately, yes, it is their job to shepherd the flock. Ultimately, it is their job to look over the sheep here. But it's not just their job. You take a look at our immediate family, those of us that have siblings, brothers and sisters. If we're getting together weekly and we're having lunch with our family, how many weeks would go by before we actually look around and say, well, my goodness, I hadn't seen so-and-so here in a few weeks. They got to be getting hungry by now. They haven't been here for lunch or dinner. We do that with our family. We sit there and ask where my brother or sister is. We don't sit there and look at our parents and say, well, have you called Johnny or Susie? Well, no, we would. It's our brother. It's our sister. That's part of our family. It's our job to ask where they are. Why do we treat our church family any differently? I don't know. Maybe sometimes it is that we're scared. Maybe we think we're just going to enrage somebody if we pick up the phone and call and say, I haven't seen you at Maysville in a while. Where have you been? I don't know. I guess they could chew us out. But how many times has that actually happened when we called them and they just went irate on us? It's a little bit different. If you hadn't gone to work in 2 or 3 days and your boss calls you, hey, I hadn't seen you at your desk in a few days. Where have you been? Well, how dare you call me? You're so intrusive. What a busybody. Your boss has got a right to know where you are. And calling one of our brothers and sisters just to say, well, where have you been? We've missed you. Not to be intrusive, but just to ask where they've been. Why don't we do that? We don't have time tonight. Well, we could probably make a whole lesson on what you could call the power of one. The power of simply picking up the phone and making one phone call per day for someone who just needs to hear from us. The power of one card per week to someone who just needs some encouragement. The power of one stop by at someone's house every month, just to knock on their door and say, hey, we've missed you. Someone who just desperately needs a visitor, probably, just for a few minutes, just for a short while. My granddad, Tommy, he has got a gift for being a soul winner. I mean, he's got a talent for it. He was telling me a story a few years ago that, I don't remember the guy's name now, but he picked up the phone. He had several discussions with this gentleman at their church. I think he'd been in his home talking to him, probably had him at his home. And he picked up the phone and he said, I don't remember his name, we'll call him Scott. And he said, Scott, I've just gotten to the point where I think about you an awful lot. And we've talked several times, and I just want to know if there's anything at all I can do for you. And what a simple way to start a phone conversation. I think about you a lot. You're my brother or sister in Christ. Is there anything at all I can do for you? It's that simple. It's not an intrusive tone. It's not a fact of, you haven't been at church in a while, where have you been? Get back here. It's just, can I help you? It really is that simple. And I wonder if we're just scared sometimes of the reaction we're going to get from people that we talk to, that we just don't make an effort. And we don't do it because we just don't think it's our job. The word brethren or brothers, depending on your translation, is mentioned in the New Testament over 900 times. 900. I think God has a plan for the church family, that we are a family. Just a little bit. Maybe we shouldn't look at it as an obligation. Maybe we should just kind of develop the mindset of, if I don't do it, who will? The elders, they got a big flock to look after, guys. A big flock. And if they can't do it all, we got to help out. It's our church family as well. We live in a very dark, dark world. And if the Lord's church is going to have any chance of growing, we have to play an active role as a Christian. If you want to flip over to the book of James, we'll wrap it up there this evening. James chapter 5, verses 19 through 20. My brothers, if one of you should wander from the truth, and someone should bring him back, remember this: whoever turns a sinner from the error of his way will save him from death and cover over a multitude of sins. My brothers, we are a family here at Maysville, and I don't know if I need to give credit to Tim for a phrase that he used, or if he coined this phrase, but a few weeks ago he had a phrase he mentioned in his lesson, that you can either wash your hands or you can wash people's feet. And I like that. You can either wash your hands and say, it's not my job, I'm done with it, or you can be a simple, humble servant for God. Say, it's just my duty. I'm a foot washer. Who are you tonight? Are you a hearer, or are you a doer? Do you wash your hands, or do you wash people's feet? We have an obligation as brothers and sisters in the Lord's body to look after each other. And we'll talk about the power of one some other time. But one phone call, one card, one pop by, there's a lot of simple things, a lot of baby steps we can take to actually be an active member in God's body and looking after our brothers and sisters. If you haven't making the step tonight to put on Christ in baptism, please don't wait any longer. That's the first step to becoming an active member in the Lord's church. Please do that tonight. If you have a thing that you need to be made known publicly, that you've just maybe not done enough as a Christian and want to play more of an active role, please come now as we stand and as we sing.
Freely give, I will ever love and trust Him in His presence daily live. I surrender all, I surrender all, oh, to Thee, my blessed Savior. I give myself thee. Fill me with thy love and power. Let thy blessing fall on me. I surrender all. I surrender all. All to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. All right, thank you, Michael. 609 will be our closing hymn. 609. We have our closing prayer after the first and the last stanzas. And if you're visiting with us, we appreciate you being here tonight, and let us know if we can assist you. Tarry with me, O my Savior, for the day is passing by. See the shades of evening gather, and the night is drawing nigh. Tarry with me, blessed Savior, leave me not till morning light, for I'm lonely here without thee. Tarry with me through the night. Tarry with me, O my Savior. Lay my head upon thy breast till the morning. Then awake me, morning of eternal rest. Tarry with me, blessed Savior. Leave me not till morning light, for I'm lonely here without thee. Tarry with me through the night.
Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for this day that you've given us. Thank you for all the other many blessings. Thank you for the opportunity to come here and learn more about you. Thank you for this church and what they mean to me. And thank you for your son dying on the cross so we can have a chance to live in heaven with you one day. And in Christ's name, amen.